In this lesson, we're going to look at how to calculate simple interest on a bank account or an investment. Now, what does simple interest mean? Why is it called simple? Well, let's look at an easy example. Let's imagine we have a $100 investment and its interest rate is 10% simple interest annually. So every year we get 10%. Now, 10% of 100 is $10. So what this means is every year we get $10, even as our bank account grows. So let's imagine we originally invest $100. So at 0 years, we have $100. After 1 year, we'll have made 1 year of interest. That means we'll be at $110. At the second year, we still have the same interest from the first year. We get $10, and so on every year. So no matter how much is in the account, we're making $10 interest on that original amount of money. So that is simple interest, which is different than compound interest, which we'll look at in another video. But to calculate simple interest for more complex numbers, there is a formula. I equals P times R times T. Now what these numbers mean is I is our interest. How much interest do we make? P is called our principal, and that's our starting amount of money. So starting amount of money. And R is our interest as a decimal. So remember, 10% would not be 10, it would be 0.10. And last, T is time in years. So, fairly simply, if we know what our starting amount is, what our interest is, and what our time is, we can find our interest. So looking at the example down here, Miguel has $500 in a savings account and it earns 3% simple interest per year. How much interest, the first question asks, how much interest will Miguel have after 8 years? Well, we need to look. Our starting value, P, is 500. So if we're going to do PRT, our first part will be 500 times interest rate is 3%. Remember to make that a decimal, not 0.3, but 0.03. And our time, T, is 8 years. So we're going to do 500 times 0.03 times 8. And if we do that on our calculator, it's okay if you don't have a graphing calculator, any calculator will do. 500 times 0.03 times 8, and we get $120. And since it asks how much interest, our interest is $120. Now part B asks how much will be in his savings account in 8 years. This formula tells us the interest made. It doesn't tell us how much is in the account. We have to add that to the original amount. So there was 500 and we made in 8 years $120 interest. So 500 plus 120, our new amount is $620. So it's a simple matter of figure out what our starting money is, our interest, make it a decimal, and our time, multiply those three things together. So let's look at another one. So this one says, Veronica went to see how much is in her savings account. She has $4,000. And when she got her account, she had $3,000. The savings account earns 4% simple interest each year, and Veronica doesn't remember when she got her account opened. Figure out how many years it's been opened. So this is a little different because we already know how much money she has, but we need to figure out how many years. So our formula I equals PRT. t is our question mark. We don't know how much time has passed. But let's figure out the rest. Our P was $3,000. Our R is 4%, so R is 0.04. And she has $4,000 now, so if she had $3,000, 4,000 minus 3,000, her interest is $1,000. So we can put 1,000 equals 3,000 P times 0.04 times T. Now to solve this, we can do 3,000 times 0.04, which is 120. So we get 1,000 equals 120 T. And then we can, going to our skills for equations, divide those. 1,000 divided by 120. We get a decimal, but we can say about 8.3 years. So 8.3 years ago is when this account was opened. So looking at one more example where we have to find the interest rate. So it says Chantel has earned $500 of interest, there's our I, in the last 4 years, there's our T, and she originally invested $5,000 into her savings account. There's our P. So we can put 500 equals 5,000 times R we don't know, so we'll put R times 4. Now, multiplying, remember it doesn't matter what order we multiply, so we can do 4 times 5,000, which is 20,000. And we still have our R, equals 500. And same as before, we'll divide by 20,000. And 500 divided by 20,000, we get 0.025 equals R. So if we convert that, move the decimal 2 places, we get 2.5% interest. So with all of these, we can see that if we use this equation, I equals P times R times T, we just need to find out what are the parts we know and then solve for the part we don't know. So now, try the practice assignment to try some problems like this, and then you can do the assessment.